Welcome to Shifting Impressions, Conversations with the Realm of Beings, with me, Gretta Chamberlain, Yvonne Crayer, Leigh and the Realm of Beings. Shifting Impressions, which is one of the vehicles that supports the transmission of the Realm of Beings, is here to assist you in delving into your being by providing numerous topics and discussions for you to intake as you deepen your connection with your inner world. Shifting Impressions is here to assist you in strengthening yourself as you excavate to understand your true nature. Leigh, Yvonne, and myself, with the Realm of Beings, eagerly invite you to join us today and learn to shift your mindset, shift your thoughts, and shift your focus to recreate your life and produce a new you. Shifting Impressions starts now.
And welcome to Shifting Impressions, Conversations with the Realm of Beings. I'm Leigh, and I'm here with Gretta and Yvonne, and of course, always the Realm of Beings. And we are very happy to be on Transformation Talk Radio every Friday, live at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 8 a.m. Pacific. Thank you, listeners, for joining us. These conversations will help you examine your creation of reality. They will help you look at how you're creating reality, what shows up for you, and shift your impressions. Today, we will be discussing a quotation that I'm interested. I'm always interested, but this one is a little bit different than the ones we usually get. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning, Leigh.
Good morning.
So today we are going to be discussing the quotation, "Cosmic fire is the force that invigorates all of life that we know and that which we do not know. It is all." And usually they don't talk, the realm doesn't usually say things like cosmic fire. So I thought that was kind of interesting that they did in this quotation. So that was kind of the catalyst that inspired me to sort of want to delve a little deeper into it. Cosmic fire. And Greta was talking about how Alice Bailey has a book about the treatise on cosmic fire. So I didn't know anything about her. And then I looked, and she also, I guess, Greta, in the early part of the 20th century, but she was also channeling, right? It's some like a Tibetan.
Absolutely. The Tibetan. Yeah.
And so I don't know, where do we go with cosmic fire?
I think we go to the last sentence in that quote, and it says, "It is all."
Mm-hmm.
So I think the cosmic fire is referring to the force, because
Okay.
it's cosmic. It's ethereal. It's not looking at fire that we have here. It's an ethereal fire. It's an ethereal energy. And what is fire? Fire is very strong. It's a strong thing. It can go both ways, but everything under the force is all good. But it's the force. Cosmic fire, like it says, is the force.
Mm-hmm.
That right.
It might help for our listeners, because this quote actually is a little different, deeper than our regular kind of conversations. How would I guess, if you are thinking or talking about Alice Bailey, where does that definition of cosmic fire come in? Like for I guess for the audience, like how do most people, or how do some people think of it or define it?
Well, it's not just Alice Bailey. And for those of you who don't know, she was writing in the 1920s. Everything was channeled to her by the force called the Tibetan. And
he's the same energy that channeled to Blavatsky. And maybe those people who aren't aware of Blavatsky, she is a metaphysician, a writer that traveled to India, spent some time with Mahatma Gandhi, and then she felt that the Eastern world needed to meet the Western world. So she was one of the people that was part of that movement. So the concept of the Ayurvedic concepts that we're using today were basically brought here by her. And what would one of those concepts be? It would be chakras. And the idea that we only have 7 chakras. And that's just one system of chakras. There are various systems. Some have their chakras that have a system that believes in only 4 chakras. There's one that's 36, one that's 12. The work that I do is it's infinite. It's infinity. You have so many chakras. You have trillions of them. You don't really realize that. But anyway, so cosmic fire. I want to say that fire is something also that various shamans accept. And when I say shamans, I'm not just meaning shamans that are in First Nation people. And if they're not familiar, if our audience is not familiar with First Nation, we used to call them Indians, but that's really become a very derogatory name. So then we changed it to Native Americans. And now they prefer to be called First Nation people. So that's who I'm referring to. In First Nation people, in the shamanism, fire is very important. It's considered with a lot of strength, a lot of spiritual strength, a lot of vim and vigor and spirituality, you see. So fire is very significant. Fire also is one of the 4 elements, that we consider here in Earth. So it has a lot of spiritual meaning, different spiritual meanings for different people, groups of people. But one thing is that although the thoughts may be different, that it's that one main thought is that it is of a high vibrational rate, high vibrational frequency level that we're operating in. So cosmic then is a term that it doesn't mean God. It means that which created, if you want to think of creation, that which created God. So that's the force. The force created all of existence. Whereas the God, when you think of God, I'm praying to God or I'm praying to Source, you're just thinking of the God that is in this universe that we are in. And it's really nomenclature for people who are human. Because when you get to other species, they're not going to refer to it as that, nor see it as that. It's different. Yeah, each group of people is not people. I'm going to change that people to individuals, because not everyone that exists here is a person. So it's different for each person. Here in this quote, I would take it as, it says it's the force, it's cosmic, it's not, it's all-knowing, truly all-knowing, and omnipotent, omniscient,
Yeah, the quote says that which we know and that which we don't know.
Right.
It invigorates, which means it, like you said, it's high vibrational, which if it's high vibrational, the tendency, something that's lower vibrational might not be as lively or invigorated. So is it fair to say that cosmic fire, the force, cosmic fire is another definition for the force?
You can use that. I
A
think it's,
synonym?
yeah, you could. As long as people understand that we're talking about the force and we're not talking about God or Allah
Or fire itself,
or Yahweh, you know, we're
right?
talking about the force, the energy. It,
Mhm.
fire is energy. So it's
Mhm.
talking about the energy, because the energy that we use here to create our reality is the force.
Mhm.
I asked a group of people, I said, everybody's always talking about energy. Everybody's talking about I'm an energy worker. There are people that talk about, well, I do Reiki, or I do this energy, or energy medicine, or energy psychology. They always say energy, energy, energy. So then I asked this one group of people, so tell me, what is the energy you're talking about? What is it? You know, everybody looked at me like I had 5 heads. You know, they didn't realize that the very thing that they are using to create their reality is the force itself. And why is that? Because we are the force. Each one of us. Each one of us is the force, not a part of it. We are it. So there's no separation. When you get to the understanding of cosmic fire, then that is one thing. You know that there is no separation whatsoever between anything that is in creation. And that's throughout all of existence. So that's kind of it, basically. You know, but most people, I've even been told that what I've said is blasphemous,
Oh.
you know, but a long time ago. But I've learned too that not everybody is at that place that they want to see themselves as the force.
Mm.
Because some people say, like, why did, quote unquote, God do that to me? Why did God do that to me? You know, if God, then I've heard people say, if the God that we have is so kind and gentle, how can it create war? How can it create mayhem? You see, but that's us creating that, because we want to set up a learning environment. So we do learning by just being ourselves individually, and we learn collectively.
Can I pause you for 1 second, Greta?
Absolutely.
I kind of wanted to touch on 2 things. You know, with this quotation, I thought we would get into, you know, I mean, this fire element and all of that. And I guess all of the 4 elements are just, you know, a different way, like we as humans can classify the same energy, you know, like fire is maybe more invigorating and stronger, and you know, water has its own properties and air has its own properties, and it's all energy but moving at a different rate. So that's why we call it different things, to make some heads or tails of you know, to get some understanding about why we're here. But then I was curious when you just said that someone said that you were saying things that were blasphemous or whatever. Now, is there something, because I guess we're all projecting everything all of the time, right? So is there some part, like some unconscious part of you? Because like, I don't know, I think, did you tell us that you were raised like in a Catholic upbringing, or am I totally wrong?
Yes, no, you're right. But
Okay, so
I, along with that, I have to say that at the age of 18, well, at the age of 15, I started to investigate other religions.
mhm.
By the time I was 18, I had changed my perspective and adapted the perspective of the Baha'i faith.
Mhm.
So, and I remained a Baha'i for about 20 some years. But the thing is that after that, I decided I was at a lecture by John Henry Clark, who's a very famous Black historian. And in that lecture, he was talking about himself. And he said, I have decided that I am not attached to any religion. I am a spiritual being. And so that hit me when he said that. And I said, that's what I've been looking for. Of course, I created to hear it because that's
Right,
what
but
I hear.
right, and like circling back to the end of my question, you know, because you created to be born or whatever into this, you know, initially into this sort of like into a human family unit that had these Catholic underpinnings or whatever. I'm just looking at, because it's not to single you out, I'm just trying to understand everything, and this was just an example. So for someone to say that you're blasphemous or what you're saying is blasphemy, you needed to hear that. So is that like something in your unconscious that you like, maybe some old things about your upbringing that maybe you don't think, you're not consciously thinking that what you're saying is blasphemy, but like from the old understanding, you would hear these kind of things in like church or the preacher or whatever. So that's what I'm just saying, like, where did you hearing that come from? Like, is it something in your unconscious that's you're projecting out for to hear that back, and for you to know like that there's something still a little, you know, some things you need to get rid of?
Well, I wouldn't say that blasphemous is something I need to get rid of, really.
Okay.
I think it's just it was a lesson for me.
Mhm.
And it was coming from the unconscious level.
Okay,
Because
that's what I was
consciously, I don't see myself as being.
right.
So that was that I attracted that to myself by the unconscious. But
Did
it was,
you
go ahead.
attract it to you multiple times, or is it like that one time and you
It's just
cleared
that
it,
one
or
time. It's just that
what's
one.
that?
It was once.
Hmm.
It was once. I didn't fall into a loop with that.
Okay.
Yay!
Right. Thank you. Yeah.
Yay!
I didn't fall into a loop with it, and I have become. See, you know what that was? It was me to feel comfortable in where I was, where I am.
Okay.
That's what that was about. And then we can take it back to my childhood when my mother told me, don't tell people that you do these things. You know, she said, don't tell anybody about that. You know, don't tell anybody.
You see spirits.
You're right. That's right. I can see spirits. I can know
Talk to
things,
spirits.
you know. So she said, don't tell anybody that, because they will think that you're insane.
Yeah, they would.
Or crazy.
In her time, they locked people up.
Yeah. So she told me, that's what she told me. So I think somebody coming up to me and saying, well, that is blasphemous, I think it's attached to that.
Right. I mean, is there some, like some unconscious, like guilty thing, you know, because you're talking about it publicly, or, you know, you're kind of guilty as in like, you know, those weird things that were like going against what mom said, sort of, you know?
I don't think, you know why I don't worry about that? Because I've gone, you know, I've experienced Buddhism through Nichiren Shoshu Buddhism. You know, I'll chant Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. I've been to the mosque. I prayed in the mosque, you know, and I've read the holy books of every major religion in this world. So I've read the Kabbalah, you know, I've read the Quran. So through that experience of being Baha'i, because Baha'is accept everyone. If you go to a Baha'i Sunday service, then you're going to hear the readings from it might be from the Kabbalah, it might be from the Old Testament, it might be from the New Testament, it might be from the Gita, it could be from anything that the people choose. So through that experience, I learned to accept all. That was my beginning. Now, what's interesting for me is that, you know, I sing. So I sing, I cantor in a Catholic church. Why? Because I like the people. I like the camaraderie. And very interestingly enough, here I am, a Black woman, cantoring in a Chinese church. Because it's the church in Chicago. It's located in Chinatown itself. Wonderful place to be. Holds a lot of great energy. And I just love the energy. I love the people. They love me, you know, and that's wonderful. I respect their belief system. Because see, this is what it is. It's a respect of each person's belief system. That is when you get into it is all that's in that court. You accept that, and it's okay. You know, they have the ceremonies. They believe in Mother Mary. That's okay. It's okay where they are, you know, because I know where I am, and I'm very secure where I am at this point.
Right. And I feel like that's where, I mean, ideally, I guess, you know, that's the reality we should be creating. I mean, we could be creating, right? I mean, where we're maybe, I know past, but it's the only way I can say it, coming from, you know, is all of this division and separatist. But when you were talking about, you know, a Catholic church and a Chinatown and your Black woman and blah, 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 I said, oh, that's amazing. Look, it's like a rainbow. Like, it doesn't matter, you know, and I guess that's what it is. If we're all one, like, gosh, it would be so much, like, just in what you were saying, I just felt like a relief if in my imagination, when I was thinking, wow, if everybody could just walk around and like accept the person who they think is outside of them, who appears to be outside of them, but is all together, just like accept what everybody's doing. Like, you know, it's just, it's so much easier to do that. There's like so much less friction and acceptance, I feel like.
But see, you have to evolve to that. See, and everybody has their own sense of what their evolution should look like.
Right.
And how long it's going to take them to do it. You know, when we do a thing on death, it'd be interesting to talk about the transitional portal, which some people call heaven, but and other names of it. But that would be interesting too. That's where we can really look at what's going on with us. What's going on with us. And we can't see everything, but everything is there, but we can't see it. Because it being human, the human condition is about separation. That's one of our lessons. It's one of our lessons to realize that we're all one and that we've always been one, you see. I don't know if it was here or somewhere else. They were talking about, I was saying that people were even creating discrimination concerning people who are, quote unquote, named extraterrestrials. You know, they've already here, humans have decided that they're classifying extraterrestrials and already discriminating against them and haven't met one at all.
Oh my gosh.
You see, and I'm saying, oh my God, I said, they're not satisfied to see separation here on earth and discrimination here on earth of people by way of sexuality, by way of religions, by way of education, by way of the amount of money you have, by way of what neighborhood you live in. You know, all of that is giving separation to this reality. And so now want to extend it to the realities that are elsewhere in the universe. Have not gone there one day, but are saying that. You know, I was reading, well, actually, Kathy, one of my facilitators, she told me, she said, you've got to look and see what an Arcturian looks like. She said, they're purple with 3 fingers. I laughed. I thought that was the funniest thing. I said, and then you see the grays. You know, the grays, they look gray, spindly legs and big eyes. You know, they make fun of them on Halloween because they can dress up at grays. So it's already, they want to expand it. We don't want to expand that. We want to decrease it.
And how do we do that? Like, it's like another level of distortion, I feel like. And like, you know, so many things are distorted, right? Like, you know, when the light passes through a prism, you know, it becomes a rainbow. So that's like a kind of distortion, right? But we like it. So it's beautiful. Well, most of us, I do. I will just speak from me. And, you know, and this is just, I guess, like, we can't even go down that road. It's just whether someone should do it or not do it. It's just yet another form of distortion, right? And who are we to say
well,
that?
See, the only thing in reference to your question, where do we start? We start with ourselves.
Right.
A person must work with themselves individually to reach that understanding, to seek it out, you know, and you're going to create all kinds of ways to be able to look at that. And some people still succumb to that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in Europe, in Africa, in Asia, and oh my God, even the polar bears are having a challenge. You know what I mean? So it's like, wow, that's all I can say. I know it's time. I think we've used up our time now. We've got to move on.
We don't have to do anything, but if you'd like to, we will take a short break and come back to hear.
Getting feisty, Leigh. You're getting feisty.
Yeah, Leigh is getting feisty here.
We will come back and let the realm of beings weigh in on their little quotation about cosmic fire and cover whatever we didn't cover that the listeners and we should know about. Okay, thank you for listening. This is Shifting Impressions, Conversations with the Realm of Beings. We'll be right back. Hello, and welcome back to Shifting Impressions, Conversations with the Realm of Beings. So this is the portion of the podcast where the realm gets to weigh in and talk about their quotation. So realm, are you here with us?
Yes, we are definitely here with you this morning.
Thank you. So today we're talking about your quotation, cosmic fire is the force that invigorates all of the life that we know, and that which we do not know, it is all. So what do you have to tell us and the listeners today about that?
Well, what we wanted to, the main part of that quote is we are looking at the oneness of everything. Oneness that each individual, notice we said individuals, not persons. We're talking about everything. We're talking about the insects. We're talking about the fish. We're talking about plants. We're talking about the earth itself. So we're talking about individual. See, we see the tree not as a tree, but as an individual. We see a blade of grass not as the grass, but as an individual. And when we say individual, that means that you are part of the force. That means that you are creating your reality. So that blade of grass that we look at and say collectively, oh, that's beautiful grass. But if we look at it individually, each blade of grass is a living, vibrant energy. And each blade of grass is cosmic. Each blade of grass, each ant, each tilapia is cosmic. So what we're saying today is that all individuals are cosmic. They are composed of the energy of the force, cosmic fire. Each one, each individual is cosmic fire. I want to say that again. Each individual is cosmic fire itself. Because you are each one, each thing is the force. Now you would say, how can we say that somebody who goes around and creates a massacre for people is the force? Well, the force is everything. And within that, within this parameter called human life, there are things that are lessons for you in human life. We stress that because on another planet with another group of individuals, their lessons can be different or they can be the same. But they're dealing with a different environment, physical environment that's been set up to assist them in learning their lessons. But what are the lessons for? The lessons are for the force itself. You think that it's your own individual lesson. It really isn't. When you see and understand that we are all one, if you can see that oneness, then and you can see there's no separation. Even with an individual that's in a universe that's far away from here, we're still one with that individual. Because we are the force and the force is all. You see. But here, for this experience called life, human experience, one of our lessons is for us to reach back and remember that. In remembering that, we've got to go through many situations because we decided, okay, I'm going to be human. What kind of human are you going to be? Okay, I want to be an Asian woman who according to humanoid life, I want to come in the 1940s. So you decide, your parents, and I want to come through these two people. You decide what time period, which is an illusion, but it works and it formulates to keep all of humanoids. I'm talking about humanoids now. Humanoids in some kind of order, physical order. Because note, a dog doesn't come up to you and say, "What time is it?" You see. So this is all for humans. It's a human construct. So therefore, when you're back at the enlightenment, let me not say back, let me relieve myself from that. When you are in the incarnate stage, you're creating that, what I want to be. Another energy essence will come and say, well, I think I want to be a cell in the heart of a humanoid. I just want to be a heart cell. So it puts who's going to be the parent? Who are you going to be a heart cell in? So you make that decision. I'm going to be a heart cell in Leigh Steinman. That's where I'm going to be. That's where I'm going to operate. That's where I'm going to deal with the creation of reality. You see. Because most people don't think that a cell is an individual being. They think, take it for granted. Okay, I got a cell. And that's all they look at. Oh, it's a cell. It's more than that. It's cosmic fire. It's a knowingness that it is part of oneness, because it is oneness. And it can communicate. It recognizes you because it's inside of you. It recognizes the other cells that are like it and other cells that are not like it. But you're not going to hear a cell that's inside your body saying, okay, I don't like you, kidney cell. I don't like you. So therefore, I'm not going to work with you. I'm going to shut down. I'm not going to work with you. You don't hear that cell, that heart cell, saying to the blood cell, I don't like you either. What do you have inside? Each one of us has inside our bodies another universe of cosmic fire that cooperates. It cooperates with us. They don't sit around and say, nah, 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 nah. No. There's cooperation inside your bodies. That cosmic fire universe that's inside your body is full cooperation. Now, if you've decided that you wanted to experience an illness, they're cooperating with you there.
Right, but hold on, Realm. Is it they're cooperating with us? Or I've heard it said, like when you were talking, I was thinking, oh, and cancer cells, because I suppose that I've heard that they say cancer cells feel that they're isolated and that they're the only one. So something about their communication, I guess, with the other cells gets distorted, and they think that they're the only one. So that's why they just replicate so much, because they think that they're the last cell standing. So they're trying to help you, but
They
something
don't
about
replicate.
isolation.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Finish, please.
Oh no. So it was something about, like, do they get some sort of distorted view in this feeling isolated from the rest of the organism? So they try to proliferate to help us, but in essence, or is it?
They don't feel that they are the only ones. that are there. They know better than that. I don't know where you learned that from, but
No, it
that's
was
not
an
accurate.
okay. No,
Because,
I'm sorry.
no, go ahead.
No, I've heard other humans speak about cancer in that manner, that the cell feels isolated from the rest of the cells. So that's why it like metastasizes. That's why it like duplicates itself like so many times, because
It duplicates because you create it to duplicate.
but if it's
You
an
have,
individual, how come it doesn't have its own individual emotions?
it does, because you have to remember that each thing inside your body is a living entity and a representation of the force. So that
Right.
the cancer, the energy essence that decided that it wanted to be a cancer cell, it's adjusted to what are the ramifications, what are the lessons that the cancer cell must deal with.
Okay, so who's cooperating? Is the cancer
You,
cooperating with us, or we're
you,
cooperating with it? Who's creating
there's
and
a mutual cooperation. Because if you're thinking, what does mental equivalency of cancer for humanoids is, and for animals as well, is that you're holding on to little hurts.
right?
So the cancer then develops in order to assist you in that lesson. It is giving you support. It is giving you support. And if you decide to learn the lesson or not to learn the lesson. So it will keep on, it's replicating itself because you still are in the same place that required it to come in the first place. So that is why it's doing that. It's not doing that because it feels lonely.
This is not my theory. I just heard it and I was asking for clarity.
Well, I'm saying,
It could feel lonely, couldn't it?
I seriously doubt it, because I think it recognizes and knows that it's all part of the body and it's interacting with everything that's there. Now, where it goes is depending on the person who's experiencing it. Like if they say, if they see, a challenge like that occurs because the person is thinking thoughts that they have been hurt over and over and over again. And in those thoughts where they've been hurt over and over and over again, they keep them. So then those thoughts are building and building and building. As the thoughts are building and building and building, then the emotions of it are building and building and building around those thoughts. When you get to a certain point, that's for you, because everybody's point is different. So when it gets to the point for you, there's going to be notification. All right, we need cancer to show this person that they are holding on to little hurts. It could be something from childhood. It could be something that the parents did over and over again. And then that person decided. You've got to decide to have cancer.
But Realm, so the person is holding on to these little hurts, and you just said something about everybody's threshold of little hurts is different. So is that where the cell comes in? Like the cell has an emotional threshold of what it can.
No, the cell is coming because it knows that this is the job it has. This is its task. Like your task is to be on the podcast. So it has a task. Every cell in your body chose the task prior to coming into actualization. They know
Right.
they're supposed to.
Okay, but that's what I'm asking. So, but if everyone's threshold is different, is the differentiation because like each cell, since it's an individual, can, you know, it can take this emotion that it's getting input to a certain level before it starts to show you the cancer.
Before it's going to show itself because it's absorbing that thought and emotional energy that's signaling it to say, okay, we must do this. We must do this. And look at tumors, composites of cells that are working together. It's just like any other cell, you see, any other cell. Everything is working for your good. It might not seem like it.
Right, because
So when the person who is the host of those cancer cells or the tumor decides to like learn the lesson, potentially is that when they go to the doctor and get the tumor cut out or do something about it?
Yes, and the cells know we're becoming to be eliminated. But
But
see,
then sometimes people experience a remission
absolutely, because
versus they
they
don't. They get,
they,
like Leigh said, they metastasize.
they did not deal with the reason why they have it in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it leaves and comes back. You see, everything, those things are created by way of thought and emotion. Thought and emotion. Any dis-ease you have is coming from thought and emotion. To change that environment, you must change your thought, how you feel about something. Find out why did I give myself a kidney challenge? Why? And here in this, you have books. Some people have been channeled to receive the information for you, so that you will know that this, if I have a headache, it means I'm stressed out. If I have a migraine headache, that's even a deeper meaning. So we're suggesting to your audience to find out, why am I experiencing something? When you find out why you're experiencing something, then you can begin to change it instead of succumbing to it.
Mm.
See, we're really not supposed to, well, it's not, let me take out suppose. We're really, as individuals, when we deal with some sort of illness experience, that is by choice. So, but there are things here, there are books here that people have written in regards to mental equivalencies. Get one of them or get two of them, look it up, find out, why am I thinking this way? Then go back into your lives and say, okay, what did I do? You might find something that you did when you were 2 years old that is playing out at the age of 52 years old.
Mm-hmm.
But it's coming from the emotional thoughts and emotions at that period of time that you gathered that. Now it's time to go back and look at it. Some people don't want to go there and look at it. And I use the word back because it's easier for people to understand. But in actuality, there is no back. There's only simultaneous action. And that action is continuously in existence. It has moved from the reality of probability to the reality of what you call here real time. but it's just a movement from one reality to another. So if you understand that you are having heart failure in this reality, note that it is here in this reality. It doesn't have to be in another reality. If you go into a dream state, you see yourself. You're not going to say, I have a heart condition. You're just in the dream state. So you've left that heart condition in that reality. So if you can go into another reality and not have a heart condition, then that means you can be in this reality and not have a heart condition. If you understand what I'm saying.
When you put it like that.
It's choice.
Right.
How do I see myself? How do I see myself? You know, don't worry about how others see you. Look at how you see yourself.
And Realm, we're getting close to wrapping it up, but if you become aware of a projection in your reality that you're like, you just realize, oh no, I don't want this one. It doesn't even matter necessarily what the pattern creating it is, like where it stems from. It's just like in this moment, if you identify something that is unwanted or whatever, it's just in this moment. You don't necessarily have to go back to when you were 2. You just have to keep, if the pattern creates itself again, you have to just keep noticing it and releasing it.
We
right?
suggest that you go to when you were 2.
Okay, but what if you can't?
Because there's no such thing as can't.
What if you choose not to?
Well, then you stay where you are.
Okay.
Because you have to understand now, when I said I didn't want it, I had to use the word back so people could understand, but now you're bringing me to this. Now we want to say to you that no situation ever becomes no situation. Once you have actualized it, it is still here.
Right.
It is still here. So consequently, the 2 years old is still here. It is still operating, but you are now 52. Everything that you did from the age of 2 to 52 is still in existence. One thing that science does say that we agree, you cannot create the energy nor destroy it. So therefore the thought and the emotions there are there. So if you go and you can deal with them, because they're all interlocked with each other. It's like an interlocking. That's about the easiest way we can explain it. It's about the interlocking, and everything is moving together. You don't see everything moving together because you have blinders on that keep you solidly focused in the now.
Realm, I'm going to have to end this conversation on that, being focused in the now. Thank you, Yvonne, Gretta. Thank you, listeners, for joining us today. This has been another podcast of Shifting Impressions, Conversations with the Realm of Beings, until we create each other again.
Once again, thanks for joining us at Shifting Impressions, Conversations with the Realm of Beings on TransformationTalkRadio.com. As you have explored today's creation of reality experience with Leigh, Yvonne, the Realm, and me, Gretta, each of you is being supported by us in further developing the understanding that you are not just an individual existing in linear time and space, but a multi-dimensional force of infinite possibilities who is connected to all. So begin to create the realities you want. Join us every Friday at 8 a.m. Pacific Time and 11 a.m. Eastern Time on Shifting Impressions at TransformationTalkRadio.com. So long until we create each other again next Friday.